Zara was never one to follow rules. Growing up on the outer colonies, she'd spent her life sneaking into abandoned research sites and taking shortcuts through restricted sectors. Her parents, who worked as engineers on the orbiting colony ship Vanguard, were often too busy to keep a close watch on her. But nothing in her life had prepared her for the night she snuck onto the derelict cruiser, floating just beyond Vanguard's orbit. The cruiser was one of the ancient Raxian warships, left drifting after a conflict centuries ago. Though most Raxian ships were considered sacred relics and treated with respect, this one had been abandoned after a major battle, its power systems disabled. Stories circulated about ghostly sounds and strange lights coming from the cruiser, but Zara wasn't afraid. If anything, her curiosity was piqued. With her flashlight and a small toolkit, Zara navigated the eerie corridors of the cruiser, stepping over ancient debris and staring at the faded alien script etched into the walls. She'd hoped to find some relics, maybe a piece of Raxian tech she could sell on the black market. But instead, she stumbled upon something far more intriguing. In the captain's quarters, there was a pedestal, and on that pedestal, almost like a statue, stood a suit. This was no ordinary Raxian uniform. The suit was a deep, shimmering blue with silver accents that seemed to catch and reflect light in impossible ways. It was slim and sleek, with armor plates across the chest, shoulders, and forearms, and an energy core glowing faintly on the chest plate. The helmet rested beside it, dark and ominous, with a visor that was perfectly black. As she approached, she noticed the Raxian symbols carved into the suit, symbols she recognized from her limited studies as a captain's command interface. This was the personal suit of a Raxian war captain. Such suits were said to grant the wearer enhanced abilities, strength, speed, and even a limited control over energy fields. Rumor had it they even had a compatibility lock that allowed only Raxians to use them. But this suit had been dormant for centuries. Only Raxians, huh? Zara murmured, glancing around. There was no one to stop her. She ran her hand over the suit's chest plate, her fingers brushing the symbols. Her eyes fell on a small control panel embedded in the arm. Before she could talk herself out of it, she grabbed the suit's arm and touched the panel. The suit powered on with a soft hum, lights flickering to life along its frame. Zara felt a shock travel up her arm, but she gritted her teeth and held on. A strange, artificial voice echoed in her head. Compatibility analysis initiated. Her heart raced as the voice continued, scanning her body and her mind in a stream of alien symbols and holographic displays that she couldn't understand. Then there was silence. Analysis complete. Compatibility achieved. Human biology detected. Adaptive protocol engaged. Zara couldn't believe it. The suit was adjusting itself to fit her. She stepped back, but the suit seemed to pull her closer, its armor opening up like a welcoming embrace. With trembling hands, she stepped forward and allowed it to encase her. The pieces clicked into place, securing her body with a snug fit that felt more comfortable than she'd expected. When the helmet slid into place, Zara's vision was instantly enhanced. She could see the dark corridors of the ship as if it were daylight. Icons appeared on her HUD, displaying information in Raxian language. But as her mind adjusted, the symbols began to shift, morphing into English. Captain's protocols active. Combat enhancements engaged. Shielding at 100%, Zara flexed her fingers, feeling a surge of power coursing through her body. She felt light, like she could run faster than she'd ever imagined, like she could leap over anything in her path. She clenched her fist, and to her amazement, a faint field of blue energy shimmered around her hand. She had to test this. Zara took off down the corridor, her footsteps silent. She found herself moving faster and faster, her reflexes sharper than ever. She passed through a doorway, her HUD automatically highlighting exits, obstacles, and even potential threats, though there were none but rusted machinery. The suit seemed to respond to her thoughts, adjusting to her movements with ease. As she made her way back toward the docking bay, she encountered her first real challenge. A security drone, ancient but still active, hovered down the corridor. It detected her movement and powered up, charging its weapons as it prepared to fire. Instinct took over. Zara raised her hand, and the energy field around her expanded into a shield. The drone fired, but the laser bolts bounced off her shield like raindrops on a window. With a thought, she propelled herself forward, closing the distance in seconds. Her fist, now pulsing with energy, connected with the drone, and it shattered into fragments with a single punch. She couldn't believe it. This power was beyond anything she'd ever dreamed of. When she finally made it back to Vanguard, the station security detected her approaching and activated their own defenses. The Raxian ship had been strictly off-limits, and no one expected her to come back wearing an alien war captain's suit. Automated turrets turned toward her, and the station's commander opened a communication line, his face tense. "Zara, what have you done?" he demanded. "Return the suit immediately. That technology is dangerous." Zara hesitated. She understood why they'd be worried, but she could feel the suit systems connecting with her, like it had chosen her. It was more than just armor. It was as if she were now bound to the ship's ancient legacy, the last keeper of its power. "I'm not giving it up," she replied, her voice steady, amplified by the suit's built-in speakers. The commander's face darkened. "Then you leave us no choice." The turrets fired, but Zara's reflexes kicked in. She dodged each shot within human speed, her HUD predicting their trajectories and guiding her movements. She raised her hands, and a wave of energy burst forth, short-circuiting the turrets and leaving them silent. The commander stared in shock, his anger replaced by a kind of wary respect. "Zara, that suit, it's legendary. It's a war captain's legacy. Do you know what that means?" Zara didn't know all of what it meant, but she was starting to understand. This suit wasn't just a weapon. It was a symbol, a mantle of leadership. She felt the weight of it on her shoulders, but it didn't feel overwhelming. It felt like she was ready to take it on. "I'll protect Vanguard," she promised, meeting the commander's gaze through her helmet's visor. "And I'll make sure that this power is used wisely." The commander sighed, then nodded slowly. "Very well, but you'd better not forget that promise." Zara grinned, feeling the energy of the suit hum in agreement.